Well, good YouTube, we are back on the channel, and obviously this is going to be more of a serious topic video. Um, my mentor slash sensei slash teacher slash inspiration slash everything you could think of has been accused of doing some heinous thing, is what the general public believes. Now, I've read everything. I'm not gonna go too deep into it. I just wanted to, make a video saying my piece, because obviously Cory is a main factor in my progression and my things I want to do in life. But seeing the things I've seen, I'm not going to downplay anything, no one's experience, no one's journey, no one's life. I'm not gonna downplay that, but you got when I sit down and see a situation unfolding or I see drama, I don't take sides. I don't take sides. I sit there and look at both sides and see who's generally in the wrong here. You know, um, I'm not gonna sit here and deal with a he said she said and pick sides based off that. You know what I'm saying? If there's general proof and general evidence and all that type of stuff, then it's raps. You know what I'm saying? But um, that would be for something very heinous. Now, from what I have read, what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've watched, nothing in this video, nothing he has done so far. Obviously, there's been plenty of other people claiming they've had stuff done to them as well. But so far, from what I've seen, slash heard, slash watched, slash everything, nothing illegal has happened. Um, According to the person herself, Panda Ninja, I believe her name is, uh, she wasn't touched, she wasn't diddied, nothing like that. So for the most part, it was just like an emotional thing. Nothing illegal really happened. Nothing illegal really went down. Obviously, that's not to downplay the situation, nothing like that. I already said I'm not downplaying the situation, but if you take yourself away from yourself for a moment and look at the broader perspective of people, what are they going to think when you say things like this? Obviously, I'm not going to sit there and defend Cory. Obviously, I know I claim to be his student and he's my sensei and all that stuff. But when you, I take when you do something, sometimes you need to take yourself out of your perspective and think about what other people are going to think, right? Obviously, a lot of people think you are claiming him to have essayed you, which you have claimed yourself. That's not true, obviously, but with you in your little paragraphs and poems and stuff, people don't see that. It may see like it may seem like he has with the oh you put yourself in that category and all that stuff. So that's what it made it seem like. So it's either you did make it seem that way, or you're backtracking yourself. But like I said, I'm not gonna, do all that stuff. I'm gonna give my opinion so far. And honestly, nothing bad, nothing illegal has happened. And like I've been saying, that doesn't make it okay to downplay the situation at all. Obviously, you were hurt, your feelings were hurt. You were alone, hurting. And obviously, it's not great to have someone who you probably also looked up to and probably loved to have that happen to you. Obviously, anyone right now with their girlfriend slash boyfriend, if they had certain similar things, they'd be hurt too. You know, but to be honest with you, most of that stuff could have been kept private. Obviously, you felt the need to come out and say it, whether that was to empower you or to have something held over him or to expose the truth. Um, that I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm not defending him or anything. I'm not accusing you. I'm not coming at you, but just coming from someone who's unbiased, that seems really spiteful. It seemed like you wanted to have this to have an effect on something. Think of the hundreds of kids that grew up watching Cory, who loved Cory, who did everything like that. He has his own manga coming out. This might affect his manga as well. You know what I'm saying? Things like that will be affected due to this story. Obviously, regardless if it happened or not, this is a story. Regardless if you said it or not, it happened, right? Obviously. So that shouldn't be taken away from you. But at the same time, it just seems like there wasn't really a real reason to come out and say this other than your feelings got hurt. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it seemed like to me, right? He literally claimed he did not essay you. He did not do that type of stuff. Nothing like that has happened unless another person you claim who there's other victims. Unless they've had something happen to them, you know. Trust me, girls get banged and then left on scene. You know, it happens all the time. You know, and then they might get called back. You know, it happens all the time. It ain't just you. It may just be a bigger thing for you because of the content creator he is, but at the same time, that stuff happens. You know, it happens. You know, regardless if that's the image he puts on YouTube or whatever, and how he acts in real life can be completely different. What we see is the content he makes, and that's what we like him for. You know, like I said, I don't think too much of this whole situation. Unless another girl comes out and claims that she has been essayed or anything illegal has been done to her because of Cory or from Cory, then I'll be like, okay, yeah. But so far, it just seems like her feelings were really, really hurt when she really needed it the most. And to be honest, I've said it myself. You came back plenty of times. You know, that was your mistake. That's something you have to own up to. Is that you came back. You know what I'm saying? You could have easily left it off when you started feeling that way. Left it off, blocked him, not talked to him ever again. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't even have the chance to message you back. So I know I'm just a youngster, not really too deep into that all that nonsense. I'm not that young as y'all may know, but at the same time, I know right from wrong. And honestly, I'm not saying she's wrong for coming out with this story. Regardless if she came out with it or not, it happened. It was a thing that's gone down. I'm not gonna accuse her of lying or editing messages or anything like that. But from what I've seen and what has been stated, it seems like her feelings were really hurt, and that's the only reason why she still feels the way she does. You know, things would have been handled better. Things would have been handled differently, and yeah. So there's a lot of theories going on. I'm not gonna get into whether she's doing it for clout or if she's just trying to like hurt his image or whatever. You know, I can care less for that shit. Just based off what has came out and been said, she's really hurt and just needed to get that off her chest. It seems like so. I'm not gonna take too deep of it. She claims herself she doesn't want this to be a thing where she's trying to cancel him or anything or to harm him in any type of way. It's just she needed to get this off her chest. What it seems like. So yeah, for all y'all throwing it out of proportion, that's crazy. Y'all need to read in between the lines and get more research done. You know, I did barely like an hour of research. I read every panel. I have watched some videos. I have seen what has been said from her and from other YouTubers and opinions. You know, so it don't take that long to research and all that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. If you guys have any more information, I honestly kind of don't care anymore until another person comes out and says something extremely heinous. Then I'm straight, you know. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Hope you have a great day. Peace.